So 25th of September 2019, approach midday, just gone midday. And this is my take on Pluto with the Sun and the Moon in quintile and inconjunct aspects. Now, I don't normally talk about these. I use them in my analysis of clients' charts rarely. And when I do use them, I give them very tight orbs. They have to be less than 2 degrees for me to consider them. And I normally only look at them when the Sun and the Moon are involved. Obviously, there's exceptions to every rule. But let's look at these. The inconjunction, or the quincunx as it's sometimes known, 150 degrees, 5 signs away. The nature of an inconjunction is that it's an itch you can't scratch. It's a cosmic niggle. It's a frustration, an irritation. To quote Terry Pratchett, it's an embuggerance. It's something that if you knew what the problem was, you'd sort it out, but it's not big enough to sort out, but it's there as an inconvenient little irritation. It leads to a sense of frustration where two planets just simply don't get on. But they're not at the point of exchanging blows or going to war with each other. They're just like that pesky older brother or little sister who there is nothing in common with, but you can't just get rid of, much as you might like to. Now, when one of the planets being inconjuncted is Pluto, then there's going to be a few problems, because Pluto deals with the dark side. Now, when I say the dark side, I don't mean negative. I mean dark. And anyone who can't deal with the dark shouldn't deal with the light. I get really hacked off when I get all these people who say to me, oh, I'm a light worker. I just want to custard pie them. Because if you can't deal with the dark, don't deal with the light. Light and dark are equal and opposite sides of the same coin. Thing is, with inconjunctions to Pluto, then one's own darker nature is going to periodically surface. Now, when it's the Sun in conjunct Pluto, there's going to be a kind of borderline compulsive obsessive streak that will surface infrequently and rarely, but when it does, it's noticeable, where you get like a dog with a bone. You don't want to let go of something. You will not let go, even when you know it's wrong, and you'll still continue doing it until it cannot go any further, until there is some type of metaphorical death. The Sun in conjunct Pluto can produce an obsessive compulsive streak. It can bring periods, rare periods of intensity where you just persevere to the point of no return, ultimately ending up, of course, in self-sabotage. It can, Sun in conjunct Pluto can occasionally alienate you from other people, where you become so single track, so narrow-minded in the perseverance of your goals that you neglect other people in your life, and thus they gradually move away. And yet at the same time, the Sun in conjunct Pluto can be very good in terms of uncovering things, digging things up from the surface. Again, it's people who just don't give up. They persevere at uncovering, researching, deep mining, resolving, bringing things to the surface that are hidden. It doesn't make them automatically popular. It does give them an almost forensic-like ability to get to the bottom of things. The Moon in conjunct Pluto is even stronger in this aspect. The Moon in conjunct Pluto people, when you're dealing with someone with the Moon in conjunct Pluto, these are the people who will sort of look at you from the side, and it's almost as if they're looking at a shadow of you. They're looking at a part of you that no one else can sense. And they can see through the superficial veneer. Moon in conjunct Pluto, I would not describe them as intuitive or precognitive. I would describe them as borderline psychic, but psychic is not a good thing to be. If you're psychic, you can see dead people. You can see all the horrors and the trauma and the terrors. Believe me, being psychic is not fun. You wouldn't want to do it. Most people who think they're psychic are just intuitive, and be grateful. Moon in conjunct Pluto are borderline psychic. They can sense the underlying dark side, the secrets that people don't want to reveal, or the stuff. They're kind of magnets for things around shame. Hopefully these are the people who don't give in to this and become kind of manipulators or guilt trippers themselves. Because if they do, then they're not doing themselves any favour, and they will find themselves becoming very isolated, alone and lonely quite quickly. However, if they do it in a way that's helping other people come to their own terms of dealing with issues around shame and fear and paranoia, then the Moon in conjunct Pluto person can be a great catalyst for helping other people understand their own fears and psychologies, helping them go into the dark and then come back stronger, more invulnerable and more complete. Only by helping other people can they deal with their own fears. This is a question, it's not a question of heal thyself, it is a question of only by helping others heal themselves can you heal yourself with the Moon in conjunct Pluto. If you decide to just isolate yourself and go into permanent psychoanalysis, all you're going to do is open up a lot of rabbit holes. And you'll just get deeper and deeper, and then you lose touch with the world. The Moon in conjunct Pluto is not an easy aspect, and the only way that's really available to resolve it in oneself is by seeing it in others and helping others with themselves, thus healing yourself. Which brings me to the quintile, which is a very different aspect indeed. A quintile is 1/5 of a circle, 72 degrees. Really, there's no evidence of the quintile being used in ancient astrology. There's plenty of people who say it was, but I've yet to see any academic proof of it. To the best of my knowledge, and please feel free to dispute me, but to the best of my knowledge, the quintile was first used by Kepler. And there is an element here of specific talent. I hesitate to use the word magic because it's vastly overrated and vastly overused. Nevertheless, there is a specific talent here. And when you have two planets quintiled to each other, particularly if one of them is the Sun or the Moon, there is always going to be a specific skill and talent which is often latent and has to be deliberately focused on to turn into being potent, but which, if utilised well, can make the individual very gifted indeed in certain ways. When the Sun is quintile Pluto, this is the person who has an unnervingly accurate insight into human behaviour, and no one can lie to them, and they can cut through the crap and get to the bottom of things in an instant. These are the people who know the difference between being mercenary, which is cruel and callous, and ruthless, which is yes, no, black, white. Sun quintile Pluto people can cut through the crap, get to the bottom of things, isolate core issues and take on the spot appropriate action to resolve it. It's a bit like a deep surgeon, incisive, direct and to the point. Moon quintile people are much less projective and proactive. Instead, they're more reactive and they sit in the background and watch things going on. But these are the people who know the truth. These are the people who just look at you in a quiet, calm way, and you just know that they're seeing through you. You cannot lie to these people. You cannot pull the wool over their eyes. They just have this kind of unconscious knowing ability of just being able to gaze, not just stare, but gaze at you in a way that cuts through the crap and gets to the core of the matter. So if you're dealing with someone with the Moon quintile Pluto in their charts, be absolutely transparent and bring them in, get them involved, because they're really good people to have on board. If you have the Moon quintile Pluto yourself in your chart, be grateful, because it does make you a bit of a loner. Not alone, not lonely, but a loner. But at the same time, it gives you a metaphorical broomstick and the ability to perceive things that the rest of the world just doesn't get. It does make you just a little bit spooky. All right, folks, that's it on the Sun and Moon in conjunct and quintile Pluto. Catch you later. Bye.